Welcome everybody to episode 26 of NBA 2K17, my career mode. Last time, I think it was a game? Maybe. Can't remember. Since after that, I think I was sick for a couple days. And then I did definitely could have to decrease the difficulty of my Assassin's Creed from Nightmare down just to story stuff. Because I hate when certain games do that. Where most games, like the Spider-Mans, the Batmans, you could play them on their hardest difficulty that they have out. And it's a nice, good challenge. But then when you get to your other games, like your Assassin's Creed Shadows somehow puts the difficulty from a nice challenge where you can actually do it to nah, every 5 seconds will kill you. It's like the God of War does that, but they at least give you the thing where it tells you right in the beginning exactly how difficult it's going to be. And throughout most of the game, it's not that difficult if you get the hang of it. But no, Assassin's Creed Shadow, on the other hand, you have to learn a new parry system. You have to learn that sometimes there is no icon for a parry, a dodge. Like, you are trained in the beginning first part to look for blue to parry, then red to dodge. Okay, it does that. Then in that game, it throws things that you can't do. See, it's because they're clearly something you can't parry, but you have to dodge it, but it won't tell you to dodge it. Those kind of games where it does that, I don't like. Like, I could play God of War, Ragnarok, on the hardest difficulty, defeat every boss through that game a couple tries, but for some reason I can't get through a simple castle on Assassin's Creed Shadows because of all their dumb mechanics they have. And you can't barely do anything else because you're playing as the beginning as Nawe who sucks at combat. Every other character somehow is good. Even Yasuke is decent at stealth. Not the great, but decent. If you go on any harder difficulty with Nawe, she comes worthless. And the story is supposed to follow her path, her story. But, yeah. Let's just get into this game. Because I could rant on how certain games are hard.
Next question.
Prez, the team seems to be playing well. You're playing well. Can you elaborate on the team chemistry?
I like it. No, I'm playing. Look. We all get along really well, and I think it's finally beginning to show on the court. I mean, we still have a long way to go, obviously, but we all have the same goals. So,
Yeah, hey, Dr. Fishman, Donnie Gilliam, Rat Press. One question. Your shoes, the odor coming from, is that some sort of garlic, or are you like making some sort of weird experiment with some feed into your shoe to make a super prez or something?
yeah, no, it's actually a contagious bacterial strain
Okay.
that scientists have found that originated from my teammate Denver. And when I found that out, I was like, I am not surprised because this man has claws.
You're
Like,
talking about
he'll just feed them.
the rookie Denver, the
Yeah.
super sexy one who everybody loves for the prez?
No different than this is a Denver from Seattle. He's really strange, funny, but yeah.
So we all agree that Denver is better than Prez.
I don't think I
Thank you, man.
said
I'll
that.
write that down for you. Thanks, guys.
Next question.
That's my dog. Hey, keep killing it. Keep killing it.
That's kind of funny. Well, if it's practice, I might just continue ranting instead of putting on music. For this video, maybe. Because it's kind of hard to tell on out of everything I've seen in certain games. Okay, so it is a practice day. And we go to practice facility. It's kind of funny how certain game companies have a level of like their difficulty. Like, how is God of War easier than fighting Assassin's Creed Shadows Nightmare mode? Where the God of War games were supposed to be brutal. I can find Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and all those games are a lot easier to play than Shadows on Nightmare. And that kind of sucks. That I could. The only thing I found challenging in Odyssey's Nightmare mode, hardest difficulty, is the beast. At least there you actually had a good parry window. And it made sense, even though you had to press 2 buttons. I think the only other games that I kind of might have trouble with. No, Cyberpunk 2027 is actually pretty easy from its difficulty. I don't believe that Assassin's Creed Valhalla is actually decent on Nightmare mode. Because even though you had to learn a parry system and all that, you at least had a shield where you could actually block. But no, with Now Way, you have to learn the parry system to perfection. Which half time does not work because it's a high combat situation with multiple enemies, where you parry one, then a couple more attack you. Valhalla made sense because you could parry, you could focus on the parry system or with 2 weapons. But that's enough about Assassin's Creed Valhalla Shadows. Let's me talk about some of the other games that I play and if I have any problems with them. Spider-Man games, not so much. Well, except maybe certain collectibles don't make sense how they are. See, Spider-Man 2 is actually pretty decent. Telltale games are pretty good. But some choices I wish they would actually have a better choice-making thing than anything else. Like in the first one, I wish it actually mattered if you try to save Duck or the first kid, but turns out saving Duck is the only thing you can do. Because if you try to save the other guy, let's see here. I wonder if I just right now testing if I can. I should probably put on music to get my mind off that Assassin's Creed game, or I'll be ranting here. all day. Or unless you guys leave a comment if you want to hear me rant about my thoughts on the actual games. 'Cause, I'll let me know if you guys prefer the music or me ranting during these practice parts. And if there's anything you want me to discuss, like a certain game, because I might have played it. It's, I only have just started to record on the PS5 because since I got this system and I'm like thinking, okay, what's be the best way to get the save files on these ones? uh, Now, this here proves that humans can multitask. Okay, so it doesn't matter if I got the thing boosted up and maxed out completely. But that would have changed if the one thing gets maxed. You know, that bar. Haven't tried after getting that maxed.
We gotta talk about our future.
Our futures, you talking about me signing?
No, not even that. Like, who's your business manager? Do you have an accountant?
Well, not yet, but my agent gave me a couple names.
See, the NBA doesn't last forever.
What are you talking about, man? Retiring?
I went to college with a kid named Ralph Tree, all American, right? Ralph, he gets hurt, opens up a starting spot for me. Well, Ralph never plays basketball ever again. Body just keeps breaking down on him.
Ouch.
Yeah, so you like the girls, like the cars, the jewelry, whatever it is you like, that's up to you. Me, I'll never forget Ralph Tree.
Mm. So, Ralph, may we never forget.
That is actually smart.
And it's not just the money. We can get money anywhere. But do we trust this team to build it around us? Can we get rings here?
Look, I don't know, man. I mean, I like this team. I like what we've been doing, but who knows what will be a year from now? You know what I mean? We got to think about us. And I guess we have to really talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're right. For now, orange juice. Oh,
Dang.
yeah.
More orange juice, please?
Mm. Ooh, a message. What do we got? From Denver. Brez, you ever wonder about life about basketball? Oh, after. Oh, God. I thought that was about. Oh, my God. All the time. It should be cool. Yeah. Okay, no, because I believe. Let me check here. I was mistaken. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, we did that. Huh. Full day of just practice? Hmm. Okay, let me think here. What other things should we talk about in this episode of music? Because I should try at least get used to talking to subtypes before comments start coming in. Okay, so far. Now the WWE games. I say the earlier ones were better. Like where they were 2009, 2008, 2006. The combats were not. They were good, but not too overwhelming. That's one thing I've problem with today's. Oh, it looks like it's gonna be. Probably that's why. Because a lot of cutscenes are gonna happen in this video. Should we get a game in? Nah.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Make sure to get up a few shots before you leave. Good work, Tim.
Okay, so. Oh, I'm trying to get through. Okay, so it's not a team practice, it's just they're in today. Because I don't like how nowadays the WWE games have those whole lot of like reversals and all that. Yes, it was you got those in the earlier ones, but they were at least basic. You just had to press a button in a certain direction. Now there's like 10 different directions you have to do just to do a certain thing. And then I miss the parts where they actually had it like a story like line to it. Instead of, like having one screen. It's like I liked it when it had the calendar system. That actually made it seem like in my career, an actual career of you. But now the Dragon Age games, now that was fun. Now that was a good game. I liked the first one. But it doesn't have its replayability. It's good if you're trying to get it through. It's just if you're trying to get a certain thing for the other ones, a certain playway, it takes your mind out of it. I think we will do Vanguard. Because the one thing I do not like that they did with the series was got rid of blood magic. For the first two games, that was my go-to. That and the spiritual one, because I would always go for, in the first one, I would go for a blood mage and the spiritual one, where you help spirits, or, wait, did I do this one? No, maybe? I can't remember. We'll just try these. If I didn't, we'll know. And I loved how in the first one you learned blood magic. It was actually pretty cool. From a demon. And after that, if you played it through again, you could actually do what you like. Me, I prefer certain parts of the game where it's the magic in the second one isn't. I mean, not the second one. The second one is actually pretty good when it comes to what you are doing. What was it? Trying to remember. It was a cool story thing of how if you played as them, how either your brother or sister survived, but that I kind of find dumb. I wish there was like an option like Okay, you played as a mage. Your brother lives. Plays as a warrior. Your sister lives. But play as a rogue. Somehow they either both lived or both die, depending on how your choices in it. Now that would have made a cool impact on the game. Having one where they both survived, instead of, just one or the other. Because you had two options. Either a rogue or a warrior, your sister lived. But playing as a mage, your brother lived. So it made it seem like your sister was supposed to survive. Then when Inquisition came around, I like it, the concept, but the end part really, I understand it was a cool twist, but you should at least made it seem like it was that he was going to do it, not out of nowhere. Solus betraying you. Okay, so I did have it all done. Did not make sense in Inquisition. But then, when Veilguard comes around, you guys just sweep that under the rug like, oh, he was gonna be a big bad. He's gonna be the end boss. No. Just cross that out. He's not a big boss. He's like a side boss an optional boss. How I put it. He's an optional boss. Making a character seem like in the sequel they're going to be the big bad guy, they're going away from that, makes it seem like you guys weren't even trying to make a big bad. And then you just bring in somehow oh, the blight that in the world is not the fullest blight that there is. Okay, the blight came about because in the original it was because they entered the city. Now you're saying because they entered the city. Have we learned that city is technically not closed off, but somehow it made the original lore from the beginning not so much good. But I like Morgan. In each version of the game, you gotta admit, Morgan was good. You could fight me on this, but there are only a few people I could say truly had a good romance in the Dragon Age games. First, you have to go with Morgan. Liliana, I give it a good one in the beginning one. But once Inquisition rolls around, no. She does not have a good romance. At least, not that I think of, because the way she joins the Inquisition, it makes sense that Morgan and the Warden weren't together if you go down that romance. She was studying the Luvian. You went and learned finding a cure for the Wardens. Good idea. But for the second game, see Dragon Age 2, I gotta say there are only 3 romances I preferred in that one. It's the elf girl, I can't remember her name, because she was good. Then you got the elf boy. His was also nice for any plaything you're going for. Now that one was also a nice one. Then you have the mage, the Grey Warden mage. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh God, it's hard to remember all their names since there are so many games I played. It's what is I think it begins with an A. Uh, and except this one, I'm trying to think here. What is else? Well, but his romance was actually pretty decent. Those three were pretty good. Now you come to Inquisition. And then the romances go downhill. There's only a few I think I could stand. Well, Alistair's romance was okay. I wouldn't say it's great, but it was okay. I like it, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite. Gotta say Morgan beats out Alistair. Same with Liliana. I think her romance beats out Alistair. Alistair I gotta put at my third one. But his romance makes more sense if he goes with the one girl, because it makes a lot of story sense at the time. But coming king or queen in that one, is an iffy subject. But I prefer, if you're playing as a female, going and marrying Alistair, with him having a child with Morgan. Because that puts my two favorite romance parts of the first game together. I chose. Makes sense for story-wise romance, but it's not one of the best. Best romance are always when you could have multiple ones together. Yes, there are some good romance, but Inquisition romances, I gotta say, took a turn. Except Cassandra. I think hers is decent enough. But because I like hers because she's like a secret romantic. Solus's romance I liked. But it's hard to do his romance, especially as an elf, since the elves, when you look at them in their armor, God, their arms were. I couldn't play it as an elf in Inquisition for some reason. I couldn't. Well, I could. It's just, oh, that was a painful experience. It's because of the arms of the elves. The game made it look like one little thing, and you could just squeeze the elf, and they break. A Canary was actually pretty fun playing in Inquisition. Problem was, that nothing major. It didn't have any major impacts. Like, the first game is like somehow wanting you to play as an elf. Inquisition wanted you to play as an elf. Now, Vanguard, I cannot stand some of the romances. I think it's because of, let me remember, because Harding. Why make her romance character in Vanguard if the Inquisitor can secretly kind of romance her? But I did like in Inquisition 2 romances. Well, no, 3. It's the elf girl, because with some of the DLC you get to actually marry her. The 2 married options were pretty nice. And Cassandra's was decent, depending on what her outcome was. There we go. eat something before I do the next video. If I'm not mistaken, the next thing is just the game. Yep. Okay, that looks like that's going to be it for this episode of NBA 2K17. If you guys liked how I talk about stuff during these practice parts, or do you want to hear the music, or something else, let me know in the comments. I'll try to see if there's a better way for me to do certain things like these, but I need your guys' inputs to make certain videos better. So, yeah, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This has been the Kitsu Lord of the Valkyries signing off.